Hi, I'm Andrea from Movers and Bakers. Today I'm going to share with you a cookie using Biscoff biscuits. They are gorgeous and caramelly and my cookies are chewy and beautiful. You are going to love this. Let's get baking. So to start with, butter in my bowl. I'm going to just give this a very quick whisk before I add my sugars to it, just to loosen it up so that it mixes really easily. So pop all that in, make sure your butter is at room temperature. It makes all this much easier to do. There we go, just loosen my butter, and to that I am going to add some Biscoff spread. So you can obviously get them as the biscuits, but I've actually got the spread as well. I'm going to put a bit of both into these cookies. So a bit of that just to mix it up with the butter before we put our sugars in. Okay. That's the butter and Biscoff spread done. To that I'm going to add my sugars. Now when I make cookies I always use brown sugar and caster sugar. Caster sugar gives a lovely crisp on the outside where the brown sugar helps it stay chewy in the middle. That's why I mix my sugars. You can absolutely do it with just one sugar. If you only have the one, that is fine, but that is why, in case you were wondering, I use a mixture of caster, of white sugar and brown sugar. So my sugars are in there. I'm just going to turn it on and give it a really good mix for a good 3 or 4 minutes. So that's my butter and Biscoff and sugars mixed together, just to show you what it looks like. It's going to go really pale and fluffy. So I'm just going to scrape that down, and then I'm going to add my egg in and give that another mix. Now don't worry when you add your egg and mix it up if it looks curdled. It will all come together once we add the flour. Just give it a really good mix to make sure it's all well combined. If you want to check out my other cookie recipes, I have a few other ones. My husband's favorite is my giant chocolate chip cookies. They are really, really good. They're exactly like New York style cookies, or if you're in the UK, you get Millie's cookies. They're really chewy and beautiful. You will love them. Check them out. Right, that's all mixed up. Now to that, I am going to sift in my dry ingredients. We have plain flour, salt, baking powder, and I always put it in my cookies, corn flour. And give it a final mix through. Then we're going to add our Biscoff biscuits. There is our cookie dough. That smells amazing and that is perfect. Now my cookie doughs do tend to be much stickier than normal cookie dough, but because we put them in the fridge before we cook them, they will be fine by the time you come to baking them. So I'm just going to scrape this off, and I'm going to take this out and do the last bit by hand, just because I want my biscuits, when I put them in, I want them to stay in nice big chunks. So I don't want to put them in the stand mixer and mix it with that in case it breaks it all up. Right, so that's my paddle attachment all done. Let's take the bowl off here. And just to scrape any flour or anything that is stuck on the sides, just to combine it all up. And that is the cookie dough all ready to go. So I have here a whole bunch of Biscoff biscuits, and I'm just going to break them up by hand and chuck them in. I don't know about you guys, I love Biscoff biscuits, but as much as I love the crunchiness of biscuits, I also love the chewiness that you get from cookies, which is why I decided I was going to get the best of both worlds and turn these gorgeous biscuits into cookies. Right, that's all my Biscoff biscuits broken in. Now it's time to mix them in. So I'm just going to fold them in so I don't break them up too much. So that is all my Biscoff biscuits mixed in with my cookie dough. So now I am going to use an ice cream scoop. You can use 2 spoons if you want. I just like this because it gives me really even amounts, even cookies every time. So I'm just going to scoop a bit of cookie dough. I'm not going to shape it with my hands. I will do that the other side once it's chilled. So I'm just going to get a full scoop off the cookie dough, and I'm just going to plop it on my tray, and then all these will go in the fridge to set for about an hour, and then we are ready to start making cookies. So once the hour has passed, I will preheat my oven before I put the cookies in, of course, to 150, and then my cookies will go in. Make sure when you put them in that you've left enough room for them to spread, because that's what will happen with these cookies. And cook them. I cook them for about 12-13 minutes, but it's anything between 11 and 15 depending on your oven. And I shall see you on the other side once these cookies have been cooked and they are out of the oven. See you shortly. Right, so my cookies are out of the oven. I cooled them on the tray for a few minutes and then I transferred them onto a wire rack. The reason I do that is just because they're very soft when they come out of the oven, so you need to let them firm up a bit so that you can move them easily rather than having them break on you. And then you cool them completely on a wire rack, and I have some cookies here to show you that are done. So these they can be mismatched. It depends on how the biscuits are inside them and how it sits. So you can see the variety you get here. But what you will have is you will have gorgeous crunchy Biscoff biscuits, but you will have a lovely chewy, you can see how that's bending as I broke it, a lovely chewy cookie that is still going to taste of Biscoff because we put some of the spread in the cookie dough as well. They are going to be gorgeous. I cannot wait to dig in. And the reason I like putting the biscuit into the cookie as well is because it gives it a bit of texture, so you get a bit of extra Biscoff flavour, but you get a little bit of the crunch along with the softness and the chewiness of the cookie. That is beautiful. You are absolutely going to love these. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Do like it and do subscribe so you get updates of all the videos I'm going to share with you. Thanks for joining me. I shall see you next time.